Welcome back, and yes, this is still TV3Newday. Time now for the big issue, and joining me this morning, my very good friend Kamal Dean is here. He came with a message for me. He's a Deputy Communications Director for the MPP. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm terrific.
Haven't you missed me?
I have.
Oh, you came. You should have said, "Oh, I've missed you," but you came all guns blazing.
Yes, of course. I needed to prompt you.
You needed to prompt me.
I hear you on some issues.
I see.
Which I did. I did behind the scenes, but you've announced it to the public.
Oh no, but nobody knows what it was about.
That's fine. That's fine.
We won't get into details.
Anyway,
but you had a good week. I'm fine, thank you. How about you?
You've been out of town for some time.
Yes, I have.
Okay, that's
I'm
fine.
back. Yes,
that's fine.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Thank you so much. And also lawyer Kwame Jantwa. He's a chairman for Political Affairs Committee, and he's also a member of the CPP, pardon me. Hey, look at me. Auntie. Oh, it's the leave. How are you doing?
I'm well.
Good to have you in the studios.
Good to be here and good to see you again.
Thank you. Good to see you too.
At least I told you I'd missed you.
Oh, yes, you did. And I was glad that you did. Yes. Osman Ayarga is a member of the National Communications team for the NDC. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing as well?
We thank God for
You've
life.
had a good week?
So far, so good.
So far, so good. You're paying e-levy?
Not too happy, but we have.
But you're paying. You don't have a choice.
Yeah, we don't have a choice.
Anyway, before we even get into the conversation for e-levy, let's take a look at a story that was put together yesterday concerning the 2-week-long strike of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association, CLOGSAG, and they're justifying why their industrial strike action continues unabated. And so, well, yesterday, reporters were on the ground, and this is what they were able to put together. Take a look.
It's been 3 weeks to the strike by members of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana. Leadership of CLOGSAG says its industrial action will continue until negotiations with governments are finalized. At the Births and Deaths Registry, there is a constant reminder to patrons and staff that the strike continues unabated.
The strike is still on. The strike is still on.
Some staff could be seen, some of the officers, but what they were doing there remains unknown. Clients were frustrated.
I came to do my birth certificate, and they said they are on strike. All their doors are locked. Nobody's attending to me. I've tried all my best, and I'm coming from very far away. I've wasted so much to get here for me to be told they're on strike. It's sad. I don't know what this government is doing to help the situation.
Many maybe a birth certificate. I don't know saying can be so more imagine. But maybe I almost almost strike into Nemano Mensanka. Maybe I also crash.
I came to work on my birth certificate, but they said they are on strike. So I cannot get it. It's been so long, and I don't know what to do.
I come check my birth certificate, my children's birth certificate. That's why last 2 weeks we was here. They said that they want to strike. That's why I came here today to check it, if they are working. And I didn't see anybody in this place.
Traders operating in and around the enclave are also bearing the brunt of the strike.
It affects me because some more year Jumanka amount for the birth set ma could deliver.
Because of the strike, there are no documents for us to deliver. And it is really affecting my business as a dispatch rider.
I operate printing press shop at Births and Deaths. But before the strike, business was cool, like people comes to print and stuff. But nowadays, they don't come around because of the strike. So government should solve their issue for them.
Nobody comes to buy from us due to the strike. We sometimes carry our products back home. Government should please address the concern.
At the Registrar General's Department, the situation is no different.
Well, I've come to see to my re-registration document for almost about 1 month now. I have put in the application and nothing is going on. It's really affecting my business and I really don't understand because, well, we have to work and get our business running so that we can pay taxes.
Yeah, I'm here to renew my business certificate. Came all the way from the north precisely to renew it for a purpose. And it's like the whole place is shut down, nothing is going on.
One thing remains clear. As CLOGSAG members remain resolute in their demand for the allowance, businesses and individuals can only wait until government addresses their concerns. Noble Crosby Annan for TV3 News, Accra.
And yes, businesses and individuals can only wait till government addresses their concerns. Yesterday, a statement was released and it was signed by Mr. Isaac Bampo Ado. He's Executive Secretary for CLOSAG. And this is what it said. A part of it said it should be noted that by letter number GA3, volume 2, dated March 30, 2022, CLOSAG declared its intention to embark on strike to press home its demand for the implementation of the MOU entered into with government on January 20, 2022. This action has become necessary as a result of government's failure to fulfill its side of the agreement since February 2022. And this agreement, by the way, is with regards to the neutrality allowance. A number of people have said all kinds of things about it. I mean, of course, they're saying that it's okay to press home your demands about salary being low and all of that, but to ask for neutrality allowance, especially when your civil service code of conduct also states clearly that naturally you should be neutral, that they're not sure why they're still pressing home these demands. But what is government doing about it? We'll start off with Kamal Dean to update us on this matter.
Well, once again, good morning to you and good morning to Lawyer Jantua and Osman. Good morning. Yeah. Bella, well, strikes have been part of us for a very long time. I mean, since the inception of the Fourth Republican Constitution. And of course, government upon governments have come. We've seen workers, at a point demanding certain allowances, demanding certain conditions of service and all that. And government either respond in the positive or response in the negative. They will judge or get to a level where they will say, okay, fine, I think we are going to smoke the peace pipe together and then get on going. CLOSAG, this is the second time again they are embarking. I mean, in recent, times, they are embarking on this strike. Yes, they make reference to an MOU that they have signed with government. They also have a concern that it has not been followed, or if you like, the content therein have actually not been, adhered to by government. That is the allegation by them. Government indeed is committed to pushing this matter to a level where they would all, if you like, reach a consensus and maybe get us going, which I believe is work ongoing. The Labour Minister, as well as some other people, are at work and trying to see how they can resolve this matter amicably. I've always said that as a people, we are quick to bastardize government, to say that, look, pay them, give them allowances. The next moment, we are reluctant to say that let us pay taxes to mobilize revenue to pay some of these things. Yes, that's as a people, and that is
how and why are you relating the two?
Oh, it's clear. I'm saying that we are quick to say government meet the demands. When you listen to the report you just gave, beyond even members of CLOSAG, the reporter had to go and then talk to traders who were around. Whose argument was that because CLOSAG is on strike and they don't come to work, people don't come, they don't also sell. So it means that there's a trickling effect of what they're doing to a large extent to some other people. And I'm also saying that, look, as a people, we are quick to say if workers or some people are up in arms against government for certain conditions of service, we are quick to say, look, government, meet them and then pay for whatever they have. Forgetting that it's supposed to be the national kitty that we have, that you contribute, I contribute, he contribute, all of us contribute, even CLOSAG members contribute. It is as a result of that purse that some of these demands can be met.
Okay.
I get my point. So that's the relation. I'm saying that we are quick to say, government, pay these people. If teachers say we want this, pay them. Farmers say they want this, subsidize it for them. The group of people say they want it, government, do it. I'm not speaking just in particular to MPP government. I am speaking to all governments that we had since the inception of the Fourth Republican Constitution. John Rawlings has his fair share. Achamels had his fair share. President Kufuor had his. And of course,
former President
Mahama also had his. To the extent that he even said that, look, these strikes will not deter him. He has assumed the syndrome of a dead goat. You understand? To that extent. Sometimes it's frustrating.
Is that the position that you're also assuming?
We are not. We would not.
No,
never. I've never heard President Adongo Akufo-Addo saying that he's assumed the syndrome of a dead goat. But I'm saying that strikes to a level can even get you assuming the syndrome of a dead goat. Okay? So I'm saying that, look, just as we push for government to pay or to listen to or to adhere to certain demands of some group of people, it is equally good for us to say that, look, what measures is government putting in place to ensure proper revenue mobilization and then, of course, judicious use of such revenue.
You didn't ask for that when you were increasing Article 71 office holder salary by over, what, 70%?
Bella, I was on a platform and I made this argument. I'm not saying that it is insignificant to mention Article 71 holders. You see, a lot comes into Article 71 holders. First of all, job security is one. For example, if I'm elected as a member of parliament, I have a tenure of office for 4 years, okay? And maybe as a result of being a member of parliament, I am supposed to enjoy certain emoluments and all that. For example, if I'm made a minister, I am supposed to be maybe 2 years or maybe 3 years or maybe 4 years, okay? Job security. But of course, if you are a member of a civil servant and you are an employee of government, you are there until your retirement age. Job security is one. Okay? Then some make the argument that, look, the risk involved in Article 71, okay, and then the kind of, you know, if you like, characteristics that come with the job, okay, maybe allows for certain privileges to be given to them. I didn't get it.
Over everyone else.
Not over everyone else. Why? Article 71. There are people who are not members of Article 71, but they even enjoy more salaries than
But we're talking about Article 71.
But you raised that. And I'm only
over
telling
everyone else. And I'm saying that in context.
It's not
I'm
over
saying that
everyone
in
else.
context because we're looking at public sector workers and also these civil and local government staff as well.
I have just said
because already public sector workers have also complained because we started from an increment of 4%, eventually moved to 7%. That we also spoke about. And compare that to the over 70% that Article 71 office holders also increase their salaries by. Now, these people are also in. And by the way, a number of Ghanaians have said that we don't even think that we should even be paying neutrality allowance because by virtue of the fact that you work in this sector, you should naturally be neutral. So we should not even compensate you for that in the first place. But my point is, are we setting our priorities right? If you're linking it to taxation, why didn't you wait for some of these taxes to be collected to an extent before increasing Article 71 office holder salary?
There's a very interesting one. There's no government that would have to wait until maybe, if you like, I'm saying that I am adequately, you know, placed in terms of revenue before I take certain decisions. Taking taxes is a going concern. Okay? Reducing taxes could also be a going concern, or even eliminating them, or even, you know, taking them away. The point I want to make is that the only way governments can be financed, the major way, rather I should say, is the taxes that we collect. Then, of course, we have other donor agencies or whatever that comes in. But what is important is that what do we put in our kitty? It is the taxes. Now, when we get those taxes, how well can we use them? Look, take Ghana in perspective. A lot of the money we take goes into payment of salaries. That's a fact. Goes into payments of salaries, which many of us know about it. That's why I'm saying that, look, given the exigencies of a time now, that economies are suffering worldwide. I listened to John Dramani Mahama where he went to Harvard and said that, look, in Africa, because of COVID, economies have actually been ravaged, and they've suffered. People have lost their jobs. That's the reality. And I believe Ghana is part of Africa. Okay? That's a reality. I mean, he was speaking to facts. So if we come home and we are supposed to bite the bullet, we are supposed to ensure that we put measures in place to help ourselves, tighten up ourselves. Some will make the argument that, oh, somebody is living in a profligate, you know, expenditure. Someone is actually living in a flamboyant mood. Therefore, I would not see why we should tighten our belt. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5 examples that you give, and then you take Ghana as a whole. Obviously, I am not saying that what is untoward should not be condemned, should be condemned. But I'm also saying that we should also be mindful of the fact that the magnitude of the problem at hand is huge and demands certain measures to be taken and certain steps to be taken. Clearly, what I want to say is that CLOGSAG, of course, have the right to embark on strike. They have the right to demand for whatever they have agreed on to be given if they are not given. Government also must also ensure that, look, clarity in communication to these people is important. And consistent communicating to them. If, for example, you agreed on A to do and you could not do A, before even the date of the A that you agreed to do arrives, engage them. They're human beings. You can talk to them. But for you to keep quiet, sit down until the date passes, then the people strike, then you come and call them again, come on the table. That is wrong for government to do. Okay. So the point is that it's about time we appeared much more proactive than reactive. Okay. Government, to my view, on this score, is a bit reactive on this matter. Even though, yes, we are working, but it should be, or it should have been quite a bit proactive in dealing with this matter. And when you say proactive, they should have given them the allowance? For example, if you because an MOU was signed anyway. And I'm saying that if the MOU was signed, and for one or two reasons you cannot even meet such, like I gave the examples of maybe, lowness of means in terms of cash and all that, government has the duty to inform or to engage the people that you have signed an MOU with. You understand? Okay. Whether or not that was done, maybe we have to cross-check that. But if that wasn't done, that is where my proactive argument will come in. Now, look, whoever is responsible, is it the Labour Commission? Is it the Minister for Labour or Employment and Labour? All these people must appear proactive in their dealings with the staff strength of this country. In this MOU, I remember that the Deputy Minister for Employment, Bright Recruitment, he had said that yes, government did sign this MOU. However, we did not give it a name. And so this tag neutrality allowance, that's not the tag that we gave to it. But then the question is, did you actually agree to even pay these people just to stay neutral, even if you don't want to tag it as neutrality allowance? Is that not a worry? That governments may have agreed to still go ahead and make some payments so that these civil servants will remain neutral? The content of the MOU or the said MOU signed will speak to itself and speak to the matter here. If the Deputy Minister said, look, we didn't say XYZ or give it a name, what did you agree on? You basically agreed on something that an understanding was reached. So the point I am making is that if the content of the MOU is signed, whether you gave a name or you didn't give a name, assume the posture of we are going to give certain allowances to you at this point in time. And if the time is arriving or is getting to and you cannot do it, please, with the greatest of respect to whoever is in the helm of affairs, engage them again. Okay, let me bring Lawyer Jantua in to respond to this. I'm not sure where you stand on this issue of neutrality allowance and whether it should be paid or not in the first place, which is why Ghanaians are being held ransom at this point, because they need their documents and these workers are saying we're on strike. And until government agrees to pay whatever we signed in that MOU, we are not resuming work. What do you say?
Good morning, Bella. Good morning, Osman. Good morning, my brother Kamal. You know, at the time that, and good morning to our viewers and listeners, at the time that they signed this neutrality allowance was in January. What was the state of our finances then? It was very much aware that the state of finances were bad. So why did we sign it? What was the reason for signing it? That's one. Two, up until date, nobody has been able to give us the full proposal that CLOGSAG gave to government. Because in one voice they're saying it's not neutrality allowance, in another voice they tell us that, oh, it has other things embedded in there. So for us to be able to make an objective analysis, why isn't anybody showing us that document? What is the challenge there? So that we can passionately talk about it and see which way it's going. You see, the other thing is that when such things happen and it comes out into the open, I don't think it's only up to government to be able to solve the matter. On platforms like this, you get experts coming to talk. Not that I'm an expert in labor matters, but you get experts coming to talk who sometimes give options and recommendations. But if we don't have the source document, we would go by what we understand that particular document to be, which is a neutrality allowance. And it was set at 20% of base pay. Do we have the money? Do we have the money? Because if we have the money, then government is not telling us something. Because government consistently tells us that we are broke. And if we are broke, some of the things that they've brought in, like e-levy and co, is based on these things. Now, I think it's a much bigger picture government has to look at. Conditions of service of public sector workers. When Nuruddin says we brutalize government when workers go on strike, but we don't want to pay the relevant taxes. These people, don't they pay taxes? They are one body that pays taxes. So don't you think they should be the first people to be looked after? Should we paint them with the same brush we paint others? I don't think so. Because if for nothing at all, whatever the case is, the moment their salaries get into their bank accounts, the taxes are taken out. Now, workers received, and what they're receiving now is 13 cedis, 53 pesos a day, which is around 365 cedis per month. Can we live on that? Can you live on 365 cedis?
And that's what a majority of the CLOGSAG members...
That is their day pay. The lowest paid members in that single spine list are CLOGSAG members. CLOGSAG members. Is that possible? Which is below $1.9 of the international poverty line when you look at the current exchange rate. Does it work? Are these people really not going through the types of hardships they are complaining about? And you see, one thing I realized at the May Day celebration, if you look through the papers, and maybe I didn't look through all, but I didn't see any newspaper give a picture of the placards that were being shown at the not one. Not one. What does that tell you? You know, sometimes I get to a point where I feel the fear factor in us is not helping. We should be able to express some of these things openly. Why? We put the government in place. It was through our votes that the government got in place. And so why do we shy from talking about some of these things? Because the conditions of service of public sector workers haven't been looked at. And even when there have been increases, how much have they increased it by? And then you see prolificate spending by government. And you ask yourself, so where's this money that they say is not there that they can spend this way? Where is it?
But if you say fear, which is why you probably did not see all those placards there, I mean, that's quite serious. You think that's the reason why these papers, because of course we know that some of these papers are neutral, and so why would they not put up something like that if indeed there was?
I don't know. I don't know what it is, whether they are scared of being victimized, whether they are scared of being chastised, because we must have an independent media in the country where they can show the type of things that happen at an event like this. Now, the president said something at that event. Because right now, one of the things that the CLOGSAG members are saying is that they're saying that essential commodities have increased. Food, fuel have increased. And that increase, at the time they were negotiating the 2021-2022 salaries, inflation was 9%. Today, inflation is 19%. Look at that balance, 10% more, and they can't survive. And the president said something when they indicated that, look, where the build-up in petroleum prices, try as much as possible to suspend it for now, to such time that, you know, we can work things out. The president said we can't suspend it because we'll be losing 4.2 billion cedis. What's the evidence? What's the evidence? Hang on. Then President Mahama also takes it on and castigates the president for saying what he said, where is his evidence? You see, you need to build confidence in some of these things. You need to build trust. So the president says 4.2 billion. What I expected the president to do was to, at least for nothing at all, break some down in your statement.
Okay.
4.2 billion is what we will use. Okay, we need this for this. We need this for this. Even 3 examples.
And that would have been enough for you.
If for 3 examples, what does that do? It opens up the debate. And President Mahama now comes and castigates what the president said. And he doesn't give evidence. That is not 4.2 billion. Look, at this current moment, and I keep saying it, government and opposition need to build confidence in the people, to trust them that you will do the right thing. You will do the right thing in power. You will do the right thing if you come to power. That confidence is not being built, and it's a worry. It's a worry. If you put out figures, you're supposed to support those figures with data. So even if the president wouldn't do it, those in charge, MP, Petroleum Commission, Ministry of Energy, let's break it down. This 4.2 billion, what is it? What is this 4.2 billion? What goes in the 4.2 billion? How are we losing 4.2 billion if we bring these prices down? And there's an alternative, which I would have felt the president would look at. And that alternative is TOR. TOR is a huge alternative. If it so happened that we didn't produce oil in this country, fine.
Yeah. The president mentioned
but we produce oil in this country.
He mentioned it. Maybe.
Is this now he should be mentioning it? You've been in power for the first 4 years. You're in power again for the next 4 years. The first 4 years, what did you do where TOR is concerned? Because what are we doing? We are filtering our dollars out there by bringing in refined petroleum products. So even if we decide to put TOR back to where it's supposed to be, even to a stage where we can produce our own, at least for nothing at all, fuel. Today, diesel has gone up to 11 cedis. And if you look at the kind of fuel commercial traders use, it's diesel. So if that has gone up, prices are going to go up on food. Prices are going to go on transportation. But we are not building the kind of confidence where we can call CLOGSAG. And you see, this is a situation where those who are supposed to negotiate with CLOGSAG haven't been able to negotiate properly.
They haven't. I remember that the Labour Commission had come out earlier and said that we're sure they are not going to embark on the strike. And
there's a strike. There's a strike. And, you know, my brother would tell me that the man is busy. The man is busy, yes. But this is important. In situations where the institutions that have been put in place to negotiate these things, they don't negotiate, they don't call everybody. Sit around the table. CLOGSAG, this is the data we have. This is how we do this and we affect this. How we do this and we affect this. Let's try and work together as a country. We are not working together as a country. And unfortunately, opposition too is not helping. Because this is not a situation where opposition should sit back and watch government do what they have to. No. It's a situation because it's affecting the people who are going to vote for you.
So what should opposition do?
They should try and give us options.
But they've given options in many instances, not in the case of CLOGSAG.
We're talking about CLOGSAG.
No, I'm just saying that...
This is specific.
No, but we can state examples in the past. And COVID is one clear example. I remember that there was a whole technical team that was set up. They released a statement. They gave various ways by which they thought that government should handle COVID. Really? And they complained that with all those ideas they gave, governments did not implement any of them.
Bella. One of the big challenges we have that doesn't allow us to be coherent and work together as Parliament. I would have believed that 137 was the best time for us to be able to have consensus, not only in Parliament, but around. The Speaker should be able to say, look, what is happening with these workers? Let's see what we can do in terms of working with the executive and come together because people's lives are at stake.
Is the executive willing to listen?
We have
and
to
heed to these calls.
You see,
E-levy is another example.
There are many ways of killing a cat. There are many ways of killing a cat, and it's got to do with approach. It's got to do with approach.
Okay.
If I haven't seen you for how many months now, and then I come and I make a sacky comment, what would you say? You might not say anything, but you think in your mind, what is this man saying? I don't know him to be like that. But if I approach it in a different way, you can never tell. It would be great for some of the major challenges we have in this country. It would be great for President Akufo-Addo to call our 2 existing ex-presidents. It would be great. Advice. Is it not Ghana he's ruling? Is not Ghana these ones ruled? Haven't they been through some of these challenges before? Why can't we work together? But that is the bit I don't understand.
Former President Mahama recently, I mean, the whole e-levy debate, he said that with the way the economy is going, let's have another Senchi forum, just like we did in the past. Call us all together and let's sit down and judge on how we can run the economy and shore it up.
You know,
that also fell on deaf ears.
You know,
so have they not made suggestions in the past?
You know for a fact that the moment you bring that word Senchi in, the government in power would poo-poo it. So don't even bring that word in. Just say, look, you can always go through certain mediums. You can always go through the chiefs in this country. You can always go through our, our clergy in this country. Okay. You can even go through our university lecturers. Somebody has to start this discussion somewhere. Somebody has to start.
The same lecturers who were even fighting.
Whatever the case, the fact that they were fighting.
Salaries
so the country should sink.
No, I'm just saying that if you're saying we should go for example lecturers, these lecturers also embarked on a strike for a long time because government was refusing to even join with them.
Yes, but don't you think if they took that initiative, their problems too can be spoken to?
Okay.
Don't you think so? We cannot live in a country where there's so much disparity in times like this, in times when the world is in some kind of a crux. We cannot do that. Government today should be able to open up and say, okay, and nobody should think that, oh, we got it wrong. No, we are looking for ideas. We're looking for ideas to make sure that this country moves forward, because where we are now, we're marking time.
Okay, let me bring Osman in. I mean, if you've listened to lawyer clearly, he says that your approach maybe has been wrong, and probably that is why we've not been able to, agree on certain things with regards to the livelihoods of Ghanaians. What do you say?
Bella, good morning to you and good morning to my big brothers here. First and foremost, I would want to sympathize with members of CLOGSAG due to the current excruciating hardship and deprivation they are going through as citizens. And not only CLOGSAG members, but what everyone is going through as a country. We are really in difficult times so far as the management of this economy is concerned. You know, by no fault of theirs, CLOGSAG now, if you're a CLOGSAG member, your salaries or the purchasing power of your money or salary has depreciated almost by 30% from January to date. So if you're earning 500 cedis today, the value of that 500 cedis now is about 400 cedis. So what you used to purchase with 500 cedis it has been reduced to about 400 cedis.
Based on what exactly?
The depreciation of the cedi and the inflation rates has caused all of these things to happen. So today, if you see CLOGSAG members really making known their demands, what is actually due them, then you cannot fault them because times are really hard. And for that matter, they obviously need to make some of these demands known to them. I remember when we were handed over power in 2009, Professor Mills, we implemented a single spine pay salary structure. Of course, we went through some difficulties, but we put out a plan. We put out a comprehensive plan because at the time we understood the plight of the ordinary Ghanaian worker. We understood what they were going through, and we knew that the structure at the time wasn't favoring them due to the economic conditions at the time. So if you look at the current economic conditions which we are going through right now and the kind of hardship and suffering everybody is going through, then government ought to actually bring out a comprehensive plan to be able to meet some of these demands and be able to pay CLOGSAG members. Because you see, we may want to, not attach so much seriousness to it. But if you go out there and you meet CLOGSAG members, you meet a chief director, you meet an accountant at the ministry, and you actually hear how much they are earning, then you would wonder how they are able to meet the first of every month to the 30th of that month. They realize they're actually living through magic. So you have no option than to sympathize with them. And here's the case. You see CLOGSAG members working throughout their lives, and at the end of their service, retire at the age of 60, they really have very little to show. And you have my big brother Kamal and his friends being CEOs of SOEs, taking very beautiful allowances, inconvenience allowance.
Your party also gave appointments to some of the members to also take up those positions at that time when members, public sector workers were still earning very little.
Yes, but at the time, don't forget, we were also implementing the single spine salary pay structure. That was supposed to elevate the poverty from one level to another. That was supposed to reduce the poverty rate of the workers from one level to another. So, I mean, as it stands now, and those economic conditions in which we were at the time are different from today. We weren't experiencing inflation of 19%, never. Under our administration from 2009 to 2016, did we see inflation at a rate of 19%? That is what we are going through right now. These are the challenges we are confronted with right now. You have him and his people taking allowances of 500 cedis a day of inconvenience allowance. I think these are allowances that if people or members of CLOGSAG hear or see, they feel that then we must also push out our
Who exactly
demands.
is taking 500 cedis allowance a day?
Oh, we have CEOs of some SOE. I don't want to mention particular names, but we have CEOs taking allowance of 500 cedis, inconvenience allowance. You are working for the government, at the same time you need an inconvenience allowance of 500 cedis a day, whereas some CLOGSAG members are earning as little as 500 cedis a month. How do you expect them to work happily? How do you expect them to work for you? How do you expect them to continue to pay their taxes to you whilst you go about to live in such ostentatious lifestyle and such profligacy? These are some of the reasons why we continue to push that CLOGSAG members must be met with their demands.
Have you seen the documents, the MOU that they signed with government, at least to apprise yourself on all the details? Which is why, of course, lawyer was just saying that if we had or were privy to the information in these documents, then we'd know how to go about this conversation properly. What if it is actually a neutrality allowance? Would your government have paid a neutrality allowance, especially when the Code of Conduct clearly states out why you should even be neutral if you're working in this sector?
First and foremost, as it stands now, we all haven't seen the documents. I haven't seen it. I don't know about you. So whether it is a neutrality allowance or not, let us stick to what is actually due them right now. If the government comes out to feel that, well, you are not entitled to the neutrality allowance, that will be between CLOGSAG and the government. But as it stands now, looking at the economic conditions, whether be it a neutrality allowance or a non-neutrality, whatever allowance it is, I feel that due to the harsh economic conditions, CLOGSAG needs some level of remuneration.
But they should be asking for it, should they not?
Yes, so they are asking for it.
No, but we don't know exactly what the details are. As far as we're concerned, this is a neutrality allowance they're fighting for. I know they said there were about some 48 points that they were asking for, and just about 8 of them were tabled and put together, and that is what was signed. But if we don't have the details, how do we know exactly what this they're asking for, whether it is an increase in salary or not?
To the best of our knowledge, government and CLOGSAG have already gone into an MOU, signed and agreed upon from February to date. So if government is, which has well-able representatives, have gone in to sign with CLOGSAG's representatives, I don't think it is for me to come and discuss whether they are actually supposed to be taking an allowance depending on how it is called. To the best of my knowledge and to the best of the position I want to take, I think that CLOGSAG members are earning very little. And whatever allowance it is that will actually help them to shore them up against what they're actually going through, I will support it 100%. You understand?
Okay.
Now, Kamal makes the point that people don't really want to pay taxes, but at the end of the day, when we come out, we expect that when there's an increment in salaries, people pay taxes. CLOGSAG members are one of the people who pay their taxes out front because it's deducted at source. But the question again is, they've been paying taxes all this while just to find out that the same SOEs at the end of the year were 6 billion Ghana cedis. And here we are chasing about 5 billion from e-levy. So what it even tells us is that if we are able to cut just the wastage from the system, then we'll be able to save ourselves from some of these inconvenience taxes which we are all going through.
What has been your approach as a party, as opposition,
in
helping government to tackle some of these concerns?
Well, we have professed so many solutions to them. We have given us so many suggestions. Even before we got to this stage, before we got to this crossroad, We made it clear to them that the path in which the MPP is charting is a path of destruction. It's a path that will take us to where we are now. But they refuse to listen to us. They label themselves as the all-knowing economic gurus. But today, we all know what we are all going through. And so it's as a result. It's as a result. No, they never took any of our suggestions.
If that's not working,
they never took any of our
You
advice.
don't want to relook at the approach. Like lawyer say, maybe it's not working. Is there another way you can handle this situation?
We are in opposition. The only way or the only thing we can do is to suggest to them and keep warning them that the path in which you are going, the trajectory is leading to no end. It's leading to a dead end. I was expecting CPP to also come up with some solution, but I have not heard anything from Lawyer Jantua and the CPP. I remember, just recently at the Crossroad lecture, John Mahama made it. He reiterated the point that, come on, where we are at a crossroad, and you need to sit back and rethink. We need to sit back and let us judge and see how we can take us out of this economic comatose. And some of the suggestions he made, well, some of Kamal's people were decided to laugh at it and all of what have you. But we really need to take a critical look at them. He said, first and foremost, you need to look at the structure of the government itself. The government is overbloated. You have over 1,000 people working at the office of the president. Doing what? Tell me, you have over 1,000 people serving just at the office of the president. Doing what? Taking fat salaries, taking all kinds of allowances. Never have we seen.
You have the facts to prove that they are taking fat salaries and allowances. Are they not working?
Just look at the allocation. Look at the allocation to government machinery so far as the presidency is concerned. Then you will know that they are all taking fat salaries. I don't need to tell you that.
You cannot say that if you look at the allocation, people are taking fat salaries.
But we
qualify for whatever job they're doing and the allowances that they're getting.
We know the kind of salaries each person takes at every level. We know the kind of salary. We know who is pegged at minister, who is pegged at deputy minister, who is pegged at what level. And they are fat salaries considering the number of people sitting at the presidency. You don't need over 1,000 people at the office of the president. Doing what?
How many did you have?
Well, we didn't have the kind of number.
How many did you have?
We didn't have the kind of number they have. We didn't have over 1,000 people.
How many did you have?
Well, we didn't have over 1,000.
You don't have the number, do you?
I don't have the exact, but we didn't have over 1,000 people. We didn't have over 1,000 people serving at the office of the president. If my number is 7, I think we had around 600 to 700 people. I don't have the exact figure, but I had around 600 to 700 people. So John Mahama.
Were you paying them fast salaries?
Let me continue with the...
I'm just asking a question.
Well, we're not paying them fast salaries because they have increased their salaries from that time to date. They have increased their salaries. And they have introduced all sorts of allowances out there. So he said, let us try and restructure some of our debts. Let us go into renegotiation so far as our debts are concerned because we tend to spend so much into servicing our debts. So go out there and try to restructure your debt. Talk to them and let's see how we can restructure in terms of the payment and amortization every year. Let us cut the spending. You see, whenever we speak about cutting the spending, they let us think that it's just about, the amount of money the president flies out in a private jet is so little, about 18,000 euros every hour. So for that matter, it's just a drop in the ocean. But if you calculate that every time he travels out, you calculate that the number of times he travels in a year and the number of people he actually goes with and the kind of allowances they take all together, then you realize that it's actually taking so much out of the public purse.
But there was some 20% cut in expenditure as well.
Well, that hasn't stopped him from traveling. That hasn't stopped him from going out in a private jet.
Okay, land on this for me. I want us to take a quick break and we'll come back. Okay, Lawyer wants to, and Kamal as well. Okay, yeah. Okay, just give me like a minute, just so I can give them all the chance to respond to this briefly, so we can take a break. Land, please.
Yes. In addition to that, he said that there are so many people who are still at post, and the government actually needs a reshuffling. You will bear with me. Whenever there's a reshuffling, it breathes in new air, it breathes in new energy, it breathes in new ideas so far as governance is concerned. We have no business being at a ministry for over 5 years and counting. You tend to become lazy. It's natural because you go out there, you're doing the same thing day in, day out. Okay. You tend to become lazy.
So all this is to find a way to pay the CLOGSAG members?
All this is to salvage us, take us out of these economic problems we find ourselves in.
But what about the CLOGSAG members? Which is what I was asking, that at the moment, we need a solution for that. What should governments do now? Because clearly, it doesn't look like we have the money to pay.
Yes, and we don't have the money to pay because of the current economic condition in which we find ourselves.
So we should fix all those problems before we can
still
go ahead
have to find the money to pay them in as much as we fix the problem. If they are not interested in fixing the problem, then how can we even find the money to pay them?
I'll give you each 30 seconds, sorry, so you can just touch on things that have been said. Then we'll take a break.
When Lawyer John Tuo mentioned that the opposition professes to the government of the day no solutions, okay? And I cringed a bit and said, Lawyer John Tuo is also part of the opposition. I mean, he should have been also be professing solutions in a way. But of course, he uniquely singled out the NDC. And you subtly came to inform our populace that, look, the NDC are on record to have given certain solutions, but maybe the government did not listen to it. The example you gave was Senchi, that John Mahama said, look, there should be a model like what they did under their tenure, Senchi, so that at least we discuss Georgia, the economy, and move on. What came out of Senchi? That example alone. It was a bad example even given.
It was a bad example.
Very bad example.
Okay.
What came out of Senchi? You went to sit at Senchi, told us that we needed to do homegrown policies and all that. Ended up taking us to IMF, tying our hands up that you couldn't employ anybody. That essential, if you like, staffing for this economy alone was allowed. To the extent that nurses, trainee, finished and they couldn't even get posted. Teachers couldn't get posted. It took Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to come in 2017, think out of the box, get Ghana out of this, economic, if you like, situation, which is where we have conditionalities put on us, that is coming out of IMF. Then saying that, look, let's find a way of ensuring that we employ many. My good sister.
There's still many who are unemployed. Yesterday, there were teachers,
but there are many who
were crying. They were picketing.
Look, we have...
At the Ministry of Education, and they were saying that we needed to post us.
Yes, I know.
There was a pregnant woman who was crying.
I have checked it. 2016, 2017, some who graduated have not been posted. Ever since this government came to power, 2018, 2019, every year when you graduate, you are posted. That's a fact. Check it. Those you are talking about, I was at the Education Ministry myself. 2016, 2015 people who completed and were not posted.
There was not any 2019 person.
No.
Every 2019 person has been posted.
Without any equivocation that no single teacher complete in 2018, 2019 and started at home. No. Under another, no. And again, my brother sits here and talks about government machinery and says 1,000 people. What is government machinery? He should define it to the people. Let us not misinform people. Free SHS is part of government machinery. Critical. Okay?
And please land
special initiatives that we have under the presidency, where we have, all development authorities and all that, are part of it. So when you see the budget, then you think that it's going into people's pocket, then it's unfortunate.
Okay.
The free SHS that you claim that you were the people who initiated it, we didn't even have a dime. It is the government of Nana Addo who has included to his government machinery budget and then funding it. Over 3 billion Ghana cedis goes into making sure your younger brother is in school.
Please land on this for me.
That is what it is.
Lawyer John Tuo, what do you say as well?
Unfortunately, Osman was not listening to me when I was making my presentation, because some of the things I said there was something the CPP would do. Conditions of service of workers is the first point of call, where we will sit and try and negotiate good conditions of service for public sector workers. It's something we have to do. It hasn't been done. It's something we will do. Neutrality allowance, 20%. We'll look at it. And all those things will come under the conditions of service. It is great to be in opposition. Great to be in opposition. When they were in power, what happened? Were there no strikes? Did they negotiate good conditions of service for workers?
They became dead goods.
Come on, please allow him.
Allow me.
They became dead goods.
Come on, please allow him.
When it is your time, you can... Don't put those words in my mouth, because that's not what I'm saying. Did they negotiate effectively with public sector workers? Because if they had, we probably wouldn't be where we are today. It's fine to be in opposition. When you are sitting at the table of ruling and governance, things are different. So I would have loved Osman to tell us that in our time, when we negotiated with public sector workers, A is what we did, B is what we did, this was the result, this was the solution. Why isn't government following our lead? But nothing. And unfortunately, President Mahama comes and he stands on the platform and he says certain things, and it is not a political debate. People's lives are at stake, and that is what we should look at. The time for politics will come, but this time it's not political. We need solutions.
Okay.
And we would look at conditions of service of public sector workers. First point of call.
Osman, just a few seconds so we can go on break, please. Just to be fair, so he can also get a second take on this.
To react to what my big brother said, let's not forget that it was under the NDC we implemented a single spine salary pay structure. I don't think we implemented it with so much brouhaha and so much chaos, even though some workers felt that it was delaying. But we had a plan, we had a structure, which we implemented it as time went on, as and when it was.
So why
it was being implemented?
These people to get good wages.
Okay. Why? So we implemented the single spine salary pay structure, and that was also a way of introducing or increasing the conditions of services, making it better for people. And my brother Kamal was talking about nurses not posted when we were in power. That is blatant falsehood. From our time to 2016, there's never been a case where nurses and teachers finished and finding posting was
every nurse was posted under your government before you handed over power.
Yes, every nurse. I don't know where Kamal is getting his facts from. But every nurse and teacher was posted.
Every nurse and teacher.
Yes, every
was
nurse
posted.
was posted during our time.
Okay, we'll verify that. Let's take a quick break. When we get back, we'll move on to e-levy and the injunction that has been dismissed by the Supreme Court, and of course, subsequent messages that have been put out there. We'll be right back.
Water gives life. Water is life. Enjoy the pure, refreshing taste of Awake purified drinking water, which comes in a uniquely designed bottle with a lemon green top. Water is your perfect way to stay hydrated. And remember, for every bottle you buy, an amount will be donated to the National Cardiothoracic Center, Ghana. Awake purified drinking water, one for life. For bulk purchase, contact 0262 351 251.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
I love coming to school because my school is beautiful. I have lots of friends and learning is so easy.
Welcome to North Hills International School. Here we admit students from preschool up to junior high school. We have ultra-modern classrooms, an up-to-date library, a beautiful computer room, a well-equipped science lab, excellence in extracurricular activities such as basketball, table tennis, football, a swimming pool each for preschool, basic school, and junior high school. We teach ballet dancing, cadet, and taekwondo. We have professional teachers who are all degree holders. We offer GES and British curricula. We have surround cameras, so when your ward comes to school, he or she is protected. Air-conditioned buses transport students from home to school and vice versa. We train students to become responsible and ethical citizens of the world. I recommend North Hills International School for your ward. We'll be expecting you.
North Hills International School.
Hello. Are you okay?
No, I'm not feeling too well.
This is Proco for Code by Kojak, and you can get it from any drugstore.
I'm looking for Procode. No, this is not Procode.
Okay. Then guide this and...
No, I'm looking for Procode. P-R-O-C-O-L-D by Kojak. K-O-J-A-C-H. Thank you.
If you ask for Procode by Kojak at your favorite drugstore, do not accept any other brand.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Trading Enterprise, the air conditioning one was so big up so. What should I shagana weather so? And why air conditioning now? Oh, the bow them and from no, oh, me call one, and from Sobia, and Voso. Mom was sit down and we out air conditioning, the album, conference room, hotels, banks, offices, our 1.5 horsepower, 2.0 horsepower, 2.5 horsepower to a Nippon for Upedodos were to a Bora Franco Trading Enterprise. Franco Trading Enterprise. Air condition, papa. I hate you.
Mother, if not for you, I wouldn't have bought my first car.
Mommy, if not for you, like a DJ. Share your best experience you will never forget about your mother with us on TV3 on the WhatsApp number 0206 518749. The most touching story gets to win some amazing prizes for Mama. And also join other wonderful mothers on Sunday, 8th May at 1 p.m. for a buffet at the Tomric Hotel, East Legon. TV3 wishes all mothers a happy Mother's Day. Mother, if not for you promotions is sponsored by GTP at Depart Tomric Hotel, East Legon and brought to you by 3FM 92.7 and TV3.
They state that it's 136 or 137. How can you go to court without being sure of the numbers that you're talking about? And the numbers, no doubt, are very crucial to this action. Because as we know, the current composition of Parliament, the absence of even one member of Parliament makes a difference. And indeed, as I contend now, the quorum for taking a decision in Parliament is 137 and not 138. And therefore, if you are an applicant for an injunction and you say that the number which took the decision was either 136 or 137, then to understand, do I even support my case? Totally. And I was even expecting, when I received the documents, expecting, say, a record, a video of the proceedings in question. And that's readily available. The proceedings of Parliament are captured on TV and shown even on GTV almost every day. So if you are diligent, you want to apply for injunction to restrain the enforcement of a law, and you think that the walkout allegedly staged by Parliament or members of Parliament at a particular time is crucial to your case, you definitely owe the duty to produce evidence of that. And there was nothing from the record of proceedings, the minute of the day in question, that there was a walkout. And if there was a walkout, what stage the walkout occurred? And if it occurred at a certain stage, how many people engaged in the walkout? And that for me was just fundamentally defective.
And that is the Attorney General Minister of Justice, Honorable Godfred Adame, and he was responding to the dismissal of the injunction against the implementation of the e-levy. This was sent to court by 3 opposition MPs. Honorable Haruna Idrisu, who is the MP for Tamale South, is also the minority leader, Honorable Muhammad Yarga, and Honorable Sam Okujeto Ablakwa. It was a 7-0 ruling against the injunction. It was dismissed. And in fact, Honorable Haruna Idrisu says that, well, yes, he agrees, of course, with the court's ruling, but at the same time, it will not deter them from waiting for the main and substantive issue to be addressed. They were hoping that there would be a halt in the collection of e-levy until the substantive matter had been addressed in the Supreme Court. But Honorable Godfred Adame says that, well, you do not even have enough evidence to put before the lawyers, the judges in court, to make your case. And it's not surprising that they have dismissed it. But at the same time, they're still going to go ahead and collect the e-levy and use that money for whatever purpose it is intended for. I'll start off with Osman this time around to give a response on what Godfred Adame has said, that you do not even have enough evidence in court to make your case.
Well, Godfred Adame, who is the lawyer of government, is entitled to his views. depending on wherever he stands and however he decides to read our submissions in court. But there's a more interesting part, of course, which we heard Honorable Kandapa make the last time about how the judiciary and how the rulings of the Supreme Court was going, and he did make certain serious submissions, which of course the people in the MPP disagreed largely with him, and even some decided to attack him on air and social media and what have you. But that is very critical. We also need to look at that. He didn't mention the fact that the way and manner in which the ruling of the Supreme Court is tilted towards government, it would get to a time when the citizens would not have any form of interest or some sort of integrity in the judiciary. That is what we actually need to look at. That was his submission. However, I've heard and read the Supreme Court's ruling. In as much as I disagree with it, but I mean, I respect it as the ruling of the Supreme Court of the land. The more critical question also is, how did we even get here as a country? How did we get here to the extent that we are fighting over whether we should implement e-levy or we should not implement e-levy? Whether the implementation is right or the implementation is wrong. Whether the approval in Parliament was even right or the approval in Parliament was even wrong. This is what the country in itself has found itself, that we are here fighting over e-levy implementation, which we as citizens are suffering. We are suffering to pay this e-levy. I have made various transactions, and when I look at the deduction, it's like piercing a dagger through my heart. I feel it. I don't know about you, but I send very small. I think I sent about 150 Ghana cedis, and I was deducted about seven cedis and 50 pesos, or 7 cedis, 5 pesos or so. I mean, this is pathetic, and nobody. I'm coming. 7 cedis. That's not true. I'm coming.
Hold on.
That's not very true.
Hold on. We will calculate and see. You let him make his point.
150 just 7 cedis. That's not true.
I'm coming. So hold on. This is what we are going through as a country. I mean, the arithmetic may be wrong, but we all understand the deductions we are going through. Please, we all understand the kind of deduction that is happening so far as e-levy is concerned. Now, John Mahama, as former president, never said that we as a country or we as a party, we do not expect a country to be taxed. But you should be taxed at a time that the economic conditions in itself is very, very conducive for you to be taxed. You do not be taxed at a time that everybody is going through serious level of hardship. Now, however, we look at e-levy and they let us understand that e-levy is the beginning of the end of every problem in this country. E-levy is just going to rope in about 5.4 billion Ghana cedis. From their own estimation.
They reduced it. To like 4.2. So, yeah.
Thank you, 4.2 billion Ghana cedis. How much did we lose as a result of SOE's incompetence? 5.3 billion Ghana cedis. So to even start with, meaning that even if we pay this e-levy, another batch of SOE's mismanagement as a result of their own mismanagement, I mean that the e-levy in itself is meaningless. I mean that it will go down the drain through another form of mismanagement. Don't forget that even the last 2020 Auditor General's report, we don't even want to go into that. The country lost 12 billion Ghana cedis. 12.8 billion Ghana cedis as a result of mismanagement. So here's the case, you are wasting 12 billion on one hand, and on the other hand, you are taxing Ghanaians to raise just 4.3 billion Ghana cedis. That's not only even end there. What happened to the COVID funds? Over 30 billion Ghana cedis that was roped into the economy. But at the end of the day, they want us to understand that as a result of COVID, all of our problems have just emerged from nowhere, forgetting that it's as a result of economic mismanagement and profligate expenditure from them. Don't forget.
So former President Mahama has said that
1 billion was brought in from IMF.
Okay.
$200 million from stabilization.
We know those details,
fund.
but
Yes.
now you're
So
saying
at the end of the day,
that you will scrap it when you come into power. Can we trust you to do that?
It is a regressive tax.
Can we trust you to do it?
An obnoxious tax. You can trust us to do. You can trust John Dramani Mahama to scrap the e-levy.
What's the guarantee? There's been precedents
of John Dramani
Mahama. The communication service tax.
From John Dramani Mahama.
The NDC opposed it. The NDC opposed it, but when you came into power, you increased it. And so what's the guarantee that this time around you will really scrap it?
This is the first time John Dramani Mahama is making a solemn promise to scrap a tax. And we are taking him for his word. And we believe in the prayers of John Dramani Mahama.
The NDC is not only John Dramani Mahama.
Yes, I mean the exigencies.
So as a party in the past, you have
exigencies-
opposed certain taxes. You came into power and you even increased the percentage. And so what's the guarantee that if you're telling us now that we're going to scrap it and you come into power and you realize that maybe this is another form of revenue generation, you might not also continue with it? How can we trust that you will really stick to your words?
Aside from just telling you that we're going to scrap the taxes, we have preferred other solutions. We have preferred to them how they should be able to manage this economy.
You have a similar,
we have told them. We have told them.
similar tax regime in your proposal, right? Your
Bella,
manifesto.
we have told them.
Are you going to implement that?
We have told them that if we cut our spending, we restructure our debt, if we even reduce government structure, they should be able to save us some money. We need to look at the kind of expenditure in which we are actually doing in this country. That alone is enough. And we need to cut the wastage. We need to cut the wastage. 6 billion Ghana cedis going down the drain. And you are here chasing us for 3.4 or 4.3 billion Ghana cedis. I mean, the mathematics doesn't add up. You understand? So if we tell you that we can scrap this tax, because this is what we're going to do. And even if you do this A, B, C, D, which we are proposing to you, you won't need this tax. You won't need to let Ghanaians go through this kind of excruciating hardship just for you to fund some of the things, the fanciful things you want to do, which at the end of the day, there will be grave and hard mismanagement of the economy, and then we'll end up being where we are. That is the core and the crux.
Okay, you have something similar in your manifesto, which would have been implemented if your party had come into power, which is what I'm asking, that would you still go ahead and implement that?
Which is?
You don't know what it is?
No, I didn't get you.
I said you have something similar to e-levy in your manifesto, your 2020 manifesto. I remember when the whole conversation about e-levy. I remember when the whole, hold on, when the whole conversation about e-levy came up, that also came up, that was a similar thing. So what exactly is
Bella,
it?
let's not misconstrue the truth.
Okay.
The truth. If you look at our manifesto and what we actually have in there, we're looking at a standardization of the fee and not an e-levy. We're looking at standardization of the fee, which at the end of the day, I mean, if you are sending Momo through Vodafone, it should be the same amount or charges when you're sending it through MTN, what are the other networks? Tigo and whatever. You realize that at a point in time, there were different charges based on what the telcos were charging. So that was what was put in our manifesto. The NPP have, tried to put it out there that we're also planning on implementing e-levy. It is not e-levy. It was a standardization of the fee so far as the charges of the telcos was concerned in transacting Momo. So that if you are transacting with MTN, you do not have to pay more if somebody is transacting with Vodafone. That is what is in our manifesto, and never e-levy. E-levy has never been a thing of the NDC.
Let me bring lawyer in to speak on this matter as well. And so that injunction was dismissed. We're still paying e-levy, and Godfred Dami says that, well, we're still going to collect that money and use it for whatever plans we plan to use it for anyway, until the substantive matter is addressed in court.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The Attorney General is a member of the ruling party.
Yeah.
But in the Attorney General's comments, is he supposed to show signs of a political nature? Looking at the past Attorney Generals, I haven't really seen them comment on issues with a political angle. And unfortunately, I find my schoolmate sometimes delving into the political arena. I don't think it's helpful. Because if we are going to depend on the fairness of the Supreme Court, because there are legal people there, there are people who interpret the law, so should be the same with the Attorney General, irrespective of the fact that he is the president's lawyer and is the government's lawyer. I tend to find that sometimes his comments are too political. Now, with regards to the question of the case being thrown out, hey, The law is in the bosom of the judge. Supreme Court felt that, look, so far as we're concerned, this is the way we see it, and not until we wait for the substantive case, there's not much that your writ can do. However, we employ the Ghana Revenue Authority to make sure they can do refunds if it so happens that the case goes your way, which I think is fair. Very, very fair.
You think it's fair?
I think it's fair that they put that proviso in there.
Okay.
Because definitely, if people are going to, if it doesn't go their way, monies has to be refunded. It's up to the Ghana Revenue Authority and government to refund those monies. Otherwise, you would have taken money unlawfully. And it's good that they put that proviso in there. Now, I don't know how former President Mahama, whether he knows what 2024 election is going to turn out to be. I can't tell, because if you tell me that you're going to repeal the e-levy, it's not an executive job to repeal the e-levy. It is Parliament. Now, if you don't get majority in Parliament, how do you repeal the levy? You need to get majority in Parliament to be able to repeal it. If you have the 137 as we have today, the party in power now that brought the e-levy in will oppose it. They will support you. So, in terms of his comments that they will repeal it, it depends on Parliament. Because we don't want a situation where he now comes and tells us that, because of the balance in Parliament, we couldn't repeal it. Because what you said, people will take it on. And if you say you're going to repeal it, then you need to explain the different circumstances that would allow you to repeal it and not allow you to repeal it. Because definitely, if it so happens at the next Parliament, the party in opposition gets more members than the ruling party, how do you repeal it? How? How does that go on? People would already put it in their minds that when the NDC comes into power, they're going to repeal it. So based on the fact that we don't like e-levy, we'll vote for NDC. Then you come in and fabu, nothing
So he spoke
happens.
a little too soon.
I think he spoke a little too soon. That is why I'm saying that, to have the high office of president, you build confidence. You build confidence.
Okay.
In whatever you say, you let people understand the nitty-gritties and the options that are there.
Okay.
So if you repeal it, these are the options that would allow us to repeal it. These are the options that won't allow us to repeal it. If it so happens that we can't repeal it, this is what we are going to put in line. And if it were a CPP government, if we realize it's not possible for us to get, we will say, okay, we will reduce the e-levy and bring other things in to make sure that we can shore up the government's finances.
Okay. Come on. I'll give you some time to speak as well, and then we'll wrap up.
Very well. Bella, I've always quoted the Venerable Justice Bega, a former justice of the Superior Court of Judicature in Ghana. He says that the bench is not meant for timorous souls. And what the justices always side to is the law and what the law says. And remember, it is not for any reason that within the legal architecture of our country and any country where democracy and rule of law is working, evidence is so crucial in advancing your point. First of all, what happened in the Superior Court of Judicature or the Supreme Court regarding the e-levy was not the substantive matter, as you rightly stated, but rather an interlocutory injunction that they were seeking to stop the implementation of same by Parliament. Now, what did the Attorney General say after the issue? He said what they saw in court was an embarrassing spectacle. Then somebody said, no, the Attorney General should not have made such comments. I have listened to a seasoned lawyer, Martin Pebu. Martin comes to argue that, look, these are words we use every day as lawyers in our industry.
Yes, but that is in the context.
With all respect, please, I'm coming. These are words we use every day.
No.
If you don't really have evidence, you don't have factual evidence to prove reason why your application began. Please,
you can't use the word incompetent outside.
I am saying, with all respect, please. I've been very quiet. I'm saying that if you lack evidence, if you lack facts to adduce, to push home your demand, and the justices of the Superior Court sit on the bench and know that, look, we side with the law and we do not side with any English language, or we do not side with any emotions. We are going to give our ruling, and they gave a 7-0 ruling, and you feel it is not proper. Of course, you can always come again with the appellate process if there's that. But of course, this was just a preliminary objection raised by the parties before the substantive matter. It is a going, case, an ongoing case. We're all going to follow it keenly and see how it goes. The proviso that he mentions that the Supreme Court gave was a good one. So that at least if after the case we were told that you have paid XYZ, your money will be refunded back to you as it were. But I don't really, I would not jump the gun. See them succeeding in this matter.
Let's see. But thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me. Osman Ayariga is a member of the communications team. I'm so sorry for that, for the NDC. Kamaldeen Abdullah is the Deputy Communications Director for the MPP. And Lawyer Kwame Jantua is the Chairman for the Political Affairs Committee and also member of the CPP. This has been the big issue on TV3Newday. And later we'll have a long conversation on the VGMAs. It's happening tomorrow. And of course, there's one show tonight and one tomorrow. And so look forward to that. It's going to be exciting. And so we'll discuss it. It will be showing live on TV3. And so we'll give you all the details that you need and get ready for the VGMA weekend. We'll be right back.